I turned 30 on a Thursday. I remember waking up with this quiet, almost childlike sense that the day might hold something special, nothing dramatic, just a feeling you keep to yourself. My wife, Marley, had gone to bed early the night before, which made me think she was planning something for later. We'd been together 6 years, married for 4. Things between us weren't as bright as they once were, but she'd never completely overlooked anything important. Or so I thought. That morning, she barely glanced up from the mirror where she was curling her hair. "Did you need something?" she asked, eyes fixed on her reflection. "No," I said, waiting, expecting. That small, natural happy birthday spouses say without thinking, without ceremony. But nothing came. She spritzed perfume on her wrists, grabbed her bag, and headed for the door. "I'm going out with the girls tonight," she said. "Don't wait up, it's a late dinner." I paused. "Tonight? Thursday?" "Yeah," she said with a shrug. "We set it up last week." I waited for her expression to shift, for the realization to dawn on her. But she simply stepped into her shoes, humming under her breath, and walked out. And that's when it hit me. She hadn't forgotten. She simply didn't care. When the door clicked shut behind her, I sat on the edge of the bed and replayed her tone, her distance, the way she'd been withdrawing for weeks. The mysterious late nights with friends, the sudden guardedness with her phone, the way she'd started dressing like she was trying to impress someone new. Something in me, cool, steady, almost unnervingly calm, settled into place. I didn't confront her, didn't call, didn't send a single message. Instead, I opened the location sharing app we'd kept since an old road trip. I hadn't checked it in years, but she'd never turned it off. Her little blinking dot popped up immediately, not at any restaurant or trendy bar, but at a hotel on the west side of the city. Room 304. I stared at the screen, feeling a silence that didn't feel quiet. It pulsed. It seethed. It hollowed everything out. But I wasn't jealous. Or heartbroken. I felt something closer to release, like the truth had finally stopped hiding. I showered, got dressed, and drove. The hotel was nicer than I expected. Warm light, soft floors, citrus in the air. At the front desk stood a young guy with a name tag that read Caton, decorated with a little silver star sticker like he'd recently been praised for something. "Hi," I said, calm in a way that felt almost foreign. "I need a cake delivered to room 304 with a note." He blinked. "We don't usually take special requests like." I slid a $100 bill across the counter. Instant cooperation. "What should the note say?" he asked. I met his eyes. "Happy birthday to me. Enjoy the divorce." He hesitated, then typed it in like he was inputting missile codes. "Do you want to sign it?" "No," I said. "She'll know." I didn't wait for the delivery. I didn't want drama. I wanted something simple. Consequences. Back in the car, I watched her location. The dot stayed still for a long while. 5, 10, 20 minutes. Then it started darting around the room. Pacing. I could picture it perfectly. The knock on the door, her confusion, the cake, the message, the sudden collapse of whatever lie she'd prepared. My phone buzzed. "Marley, call me right now." Another. "Elias, where are you? We need to talk." Then. "Please. It's not what you think." The usual script. So predictable it was insulting. I drove home instead of responding. The passing streetlights felt like silent witnesses. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger is for people who still want something. I just felt incredibly clear. Her shoes were still by the door when I walked in. Her jacket hung exactly where she'd left it. Our life looked untouched. But everything inside me had shifted. Truth does that. It tilts the room. My phone buzzed again. "I'm coming home. Please don't do anything stupid." She'd already done the only stupid thing that mattered. When she finally walked through the door, I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, quiet and still. She froze the moment she saw me. Her face drained, eyes going wide, true fear flickering there, something I hadn't seen from her in years. She started. I lifted a hand to stop her. "Don't. Just sit." She dropped into the chair opposite me, twisting the strap of her bag like a child caught doing something unforgivable. There wasn't a single excuse she could make that would matter now. The cake wasn't just layers of sugar and sponge, it was a moment of clarity, cool and sharp as the frosting. She opened her mouth like she wanted to speak, but nothing came. I let the silence stretch until she finally breathed out, barely audible. "You know, don't you?" "I know," I replied, calm, certain. "Everything." Her shoulders drooped, the first crack in the armor she'd been wearing for months. I didn't smirk. I didn't raise my voice. I simply watched as the fear she'd been hiding began to surface. She looked down at the printed photo on her phone, the note the hotel had sent her. My handwriting. Simple, cold. "Happy birthday to me. Enjoy the divorce." I could see her processing it, understanding that her choices, her lies, her indifference had finally led somewhere she couldn't dodge or spin. And the irony? I hadn't stormed into the hotel. I hadn't made a scene. I had let the truth land on its own. When Marley finally lifted her gaze, her eyes shimmered. Regret. Fear. And for the first time, recognition. I didn't mean. I shook my head. "It's not about what you meant. It's about respect. And you made your decisions." She tried again, but the words died in her throat. I could almost see the machinery turning, her realizing that the little freedom she'd carved out in shadows was gone. The person she'd ignored, brushed aside, and assumed would always be waiting was no longer playing the part she'd written. For a second, I wondered if she'd cry or plead. But nothing came. Only a tense quiet, a fragile line between what once was and what now couldn't be undone. I leaned back, feeling a steady warmth settle in me. "I wanted us to celebrate my birthday together," I said. "But you forgot. Or you chose not to remember. Either way, I've learned something today." Her voice trembled. "What did you learn?" "That I can respond to dishonesty with honesty. That I don't have to chase someone who doesn't even look back. And that sometimes truth hurts less than pretending." Her lips shook. She opened her mouth to speak, but this time I gently cut her off. "You don't get to rewrite the first chance. Not today. Not ever." She stared at me, hair falling around her face like a curtain she had no use for anymore. And I knew she understood. Whatever grip she thought she had on me, on us, was gone. There was no shouting, no dramatic collapse. Just quiet acceptance that our story had reached its final page. I stood and walked to the counter to refill my coffee. She didn't stand, didn't argue. She simply watched, realizing how deeply the balance had shifted, not because I fought back with rage, but because I finally chose myself. "You really went through with this," she whispered. "I did," I said. "And I'm at peace with it." She sagged farther, as if the air around her had thickened. For so long I'd felt invisible, dismissed, like a shadow in my own home. Now she felt the emptiness I'd carried alone. I didn't think it would feel like this," she murmured. "That's because you stopped noticing," I said softly. "You forgot birthdays. You forgot us. You forgot how to treat the people who care for you." "I didn't forget." She looked at me, really looked, and I saw understanding finally spark through the fear. Too late, but they're all the same. And I felt nothing but steady calm. I picked up my coat. "I have work in the morning. I'll see you around." She only nodded. No pleading, no promises, no twisting the story. Just acceptance. I stepped outside. The sunlight felt sharper, colder, but cleaner somehow. And I realized something simple. Freedom isn't about leaving others behind. It's about trusting yourself enough to act with integrity, even when no one else sees it. On my 30th birthday, I didn't just get older. I grew into myself. And maybe, just maybe, Marley would grow too. Walking down the street, I smiled. 30 wasn't just a number anymore. It was a turning point.